The coming together of the center and BJC reminds us that the struggle for religious liberty is a struggle for expanded notions of freedom, expanded notions of justice, and expanded understandings of what American democracy can be.
Historically, how religious freedom has been talked about in the public square has only considered one narrative, and that's typically a white, heterosexual male narrative. It has not been inclusive of people of color. It has not been inclusive of people that may identify as members of the LGBTQ community or religious minorities. You can't do the work of justice, you can't do the work of liberty, and you can't really talk about faith without really exploring everyone's identities.
While serving as president of Baptist Theological Seminary, one of my long-term goals was to reconnect the story of Baptist Theological Seminary with the story of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
I think the founders of the United States were very conscious about making these the First Amendment of the United States enshrined in this Constitution. When we say that the founders did a fine job of instituting religious freedom as one of the very first freedoms, we cannot deny the fact that they did not do a perfect job.
We were right there in the city where the discussions had been held, where the people had handshakes to seal the deal. We were also in the place where Manchester Dock had received the ships that had come in from Africa. What could we say about that? So as we were closing Baptist Theological Seminary at Richmond, there was a sense that in our leaving our work of 30 years, what can we leave that will make a difference? Our leadership of that transition made the commitment to consider beginning a center for faith, justice, and reconciliation. We elected Sabrina Dent to come and serve as the president of the Center for Faith, Justice, and Reconciliation. She did a wonderful job in breaking those traditional boundaries of faith departments or faith compartments. And she went into places where only bold and wild women were willing to go into.
The Center for Faith, Justice, and Reconciliation as an independent organization was the brainchild, I'll say, of Dr. Corey D.B. Walker, Dr. Linda Bridges, and Dr. Bill Leonard.
One of the haunting legacies of Baptists in the South, white Baptists in the South, is the legacy of slavery and then Jim Crow, and the use of biblical passages to support those views. That becomes a legacy that has been very hard to reconcile with African American Christians.
For BJC as an organization, the date that sticks out as when our work on race and religious freedom began was on June 19th, 2015. Juneteenth, 2 days after the shooting at Mother Emanuel AME Church. We were gathered at the BJC luncheon in Dallas, Texas, and our luncheon speaker, Dr. Marvin McMickle, delivered this clarion call to those who were gathered, that it was crucial for the future of our organization for us to broaden our lens on religious freedom.
150 years ago, slavery was finally ended in this country, not by any moral persuasion, but by the Union Army. Religious liberty is good, but so is physical freedom. Keep the faith by breaking the silence.
When we think of the history of religious liberty, we often have a heroic narrative in our minds. But religious liberty, even at the moment of its founding, was arrested in its development. It was arrested in its development by the very presence of chattel slavery. It was arrested in its development by the very genocide of indigenous Americans.
For so long, our telling of religious freedom history has focused on the quote-unquote freedom trail, the white experience of religious freedom, and hasn't included the slave trail, the African American experience of religious freedom.
Racial justice is not something that's merely sprinkled on top of things. Racial justice is the very foundation for a full expression of our faith and a full expression of our freedom.
I first envisioned that the center could find a new home in BJC because our shared relationships, our collaborations, revealed that we were doing so much of the same kind of work and that our work could be stronger together.
Reconciliation means that we may fail each other. It means that we may make terrible mistakes, but that underneath it, part of our humanity demands that we find ways to repair relationships. We don't simply dismiss each other because we disagree.
Our relationship with BJC is a deep one, it's long, and it's historic, brings together our institutions, but most importantly, it brings together a set of values and commitments that continue to shape our outlook as we go forward.
With the center having its home at BJC, we have an opportunity to fully realize that vision of our founders and the many leaders who have worked at BJC for all of these decades, to be that truly diverse and inclusive table of Baptists and others who care deeply about religious freedom. And together, we really can fulfill this mission of faith freedom for all.